TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Good afternoon. This is TNCRadio.LIVE, and this is the Truckers Network Radio Show with your host, Shelley Johnson.
You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. This is the Evening Surge. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly, and we've got a special guest with us, Ice Road trucker Jason Briscoe, who was with us about a month ago. He actually has traveled the ice road, and he was going to tell us a little bit about those adventures. He was up in the Northwest Territory. Welcome, Jason. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me again, guys. It's always a pleasure and great to be back.
So I guess what I want to know is, what was your adventure like, and how cold was it?
What was my adventure like? It was a great adventure. I seen lots of things. It was awful cold, and I mean awful cold. Minus 92.2 Fahrenheit a couple of mornings that I woke up. Now that is enough to freeze a person.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. You can't describe it. Like, you gotta feel it for yourself.
And this is when you were on the ice road that it was that cold. Am I correct?
That's correct. I woke up at Portage 49. It's basically a little island kind of deal between lakes, and it's wide open. And I woke up and everything was froze. It took me about 2 hours to get things rolling, and you had to do laps in order to get things from unfroze because your hub oils and everything are like molasses. And it was interesting. It took me about 2 hours to get moving, and you got out in order to do your walk around your truck, and hey, you did it awful fast because you just didn't want to be outside that morning.
Is there any way really to stay warm in those kind of temperatures?
Well, I had, and this is no word of lie, I had a t-shirt, a sweater, 2 coats on, a hoodie, and then I had long underwear, pajama bottoms, jeans, bib overalls.
Wow.
And I was still cold. Plus a toque and a insulated hard hat thing with my hard hat. And you could still feel the cold. It just go right through you. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't a damp cold. It was a dry cold.
And they say dry is warmer. What's your opinion on that?
Actually, it is. And it sounds funny. It is a complete different cold. My arthritis, I got arthritis. I had an accident about 3 years ago. I fell off the top of a tanker, and I've got bad arthritis. Like, I broke my pelvis and my shoulder and stuff, and that always bothers me. But up there, and I got a bad knee. Up there, it didn't bother me at all because you didn't have the moisture in the air. Now, I got home, my back, my knee, my shoulder, and things have been bothering me. So it definitely is a complete different cold.
Okay.
It's hard to believe. I mean, you wouldn't think that it would be a different cold, but it's hard to believe that it is a different cold. Like, I don't. It's hard to explain. It really is. It'd be almost something that a person has to experience for themselves.
I would prefer to hear about it than actually experience that kind of cold.
Well, I mean, Illinois and that got it a couple of years ago. Then it was minus 55 Fahrenheit there a couple of years ago when they had that cold snap. It was kind of like that. I mean, close to minus 92.2.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. So what are the highlights of your trip? Was it scary?
Yeah. When I first went out, because I'm in a complete different comfort zone. I don't know what I'm up against. I don't know a soul that I'm running with. So you got to put a lot of trust on people and when they guide you. And that first time I ever went onto the lake, over on the water, the first time it was snap, crackle, pop like Rice Krispies. And when you hear that first snap, it's like, oh God, am I going to go through the lake? But then you get the reassurance that it's good whenever the ice is snapping or cracking like that, because it actually is moving with the waves underneath the ice. So it's allowing the truck. It's basically like you're floating the waves. You're surfing the waves underneath kind of deal. It's a relief to actually hear it snapping and cracking, because it's better that way.
So, how thick is the ice? I guess that's the question I would have.
When I left, I've been talking to a profiler, and those profilers, they go out every day and they send, it's like a little machine that they tow behind a half ton, and it's like sonar waves, like an ultrasound. I was talking to one of them, and up on McKay Lake, which was up the far north, there was 5.5 feet of ice on that lake. That's quite a substantial amount of ice.
And you had to drive slowly, am I correct? Wasn't the top speed like 10 miles per hour?
Yeah, I don't have a speedometer in front of me, so you guys might be able to help me with the conversion. But it was 25 kilometers an hour that you could do on the ice loaded, and it was 30 kilometers an hour on the portages on the land. Okay. And then when you're empty, you could do 40 kilometers an hour if there was not an express lane. But if there was an express lane, you were able to race down the ice and do 60 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
So that's pretty slow.
Yeah, it is. Were there any harrowing moments where you're really hanging onto that steering wheel going, what did I get myself into?
There was a couple. I mean, when you got into the express lane, I didn't think drifting a trailer would be so fun on the ice. Kind of scary, but there was a couple times you go around a little bit of a corner, and you'd kind of look in your mirror. Oh, my trailer's trying to pass me now.
Oh no!
Oh man!
Your arse head of your truck would just kind of do a little bit of a fishy tail, and it'd be like, oh, okay, that's enough. That was fun, but no, you don't need to be doing that anymore.
So how do you pull the trailer back into where it's supposed to be?
You just hope for the best, and it kind of brings itself back in. Let off the fuel and ride the wheel.
Okay.
That's what I found best up there anyways. I've never been in that situation out on the real road. So I really don't know the proper way to do it on the real road, but I know up there, all I did was let off the fuel and just hold on to the wheel and ride it out and hope for the very best.
So how long were you?
That only happened whenever I was empty. When I was loaded, it never happened because you're never going fast enough. You'd only have it happen whenever you're doing your race along the ice at 60 kilometers an hour.
Okay. So how long were your days actual driving?
Well, it was about 16 hours. I went to the Diavec mine, and it was 16 hours. It was a full 16 hours to get up there. When you got there, you unloaded, you went to bed. We were able to split our sleeper berth. Sometimes I only slept for 4 hours. Sometimes I took the full 8 hours off. And then it was about 8.5 hours back that we to get back to Yellowknife. And then from there, you got your new load.
So we're talking with ice road trucker Jason Briscoe, who just got back from the Northwest Territory. You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. Please stay tuned. You're listening to the Evening Surge on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. We're talking with ice road trucker Jason Briscoe, who just got back from driving in the Northwest Territory. Jason, oh my goodness, way too cold for me, which you've been describing, but an exhilarating experience. So how far were you from the North Pole? And for those not familiar, where was this ice road?
So I was, I believe, around 80 miles to 100 miles, roughly, give or take, maybe a couple miles here and there, from the North Pole. I was at Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and from there, Yellowknife, I drove 238 miles north. It started out on the Ingram Trail, and then they had the ice going through. It was actually not non-touched land. Like, there's no access to any of the land that we drove across, unless it's you can access it through a plane, but that's about it. And I was actually so close to the North Pole, folks. I was so close to the North Pole that I actually got to meet Santa's reindeer. I had Santa's reindeer greet me on the ice road and check it up on me.
And you're being serious? There actually were.
There was herds of caribou up there. Yeah, yeah,
wow.
All kinds of caribou. Yeah.
Now, how do they react to semis? They're probably used to it in the winter.
Oh yeah, they just kind of look at you. Oh, another truck going down the road.
And how
they're probably hoping that we'd have sugar cubes and carrots out for them, but we had strict laws that we couldn't feed the wildlife. So felt bad because there's not a lot up there that they could eat. So you kind of wanted to feed them, but they wouldn't allow us to.
So what other creatures do you see up there?
I didn't personally see them, but I had a friend of mine. He recorded live buffalo, big bison. They were pretty big. I mean, massive, like bigger than moose. There was the snow fox. There were some wolverines and stuff. I didn't see them. I seen snow fox and the caribou and snow chickens. They call them snow chickens. They're actually like a white bird, like a white dove, but they're big and fat like a chicken, and they called them snow chickens.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're kind of. I wasn't able to get a picture of them because they're so camouflaged into the snow that you didn't see them until they kind of flew off like a partridge.
So, what was the most challenging moment or moments that you had on the ice road? I can't even imagine.
The most challenging moments was, do I really want to get out of this nice warm truck in order to do something outside? That was the most challenging. That was the hardest decision I had to make, but I knew that I had to do it. It was the challenging moments was being away from my family, and not knowing what was going to happen, not being in my comfort zone. I was out of my comfort zone. It was something that I had never done in my life. I mean, you got weather, something happens, you break down or something. I mean, you're always traveling in packs and stuff, but it's just scary because you never know. It's scary not knowing the unknown.
Sure. How much daylight did you have up there? Was it shorter or longer? Or?
It was shorter. It was kind of like Canada, the southern Canada. It was daylight by 7:30, and it was starting to get dark by about roughly 6 o'clock at night. So you still had like 10, 12 hours of daylight. So it was kind of nice. And it didn't really get like dark, crazy dark. The northern lights were just, they're another thing I can't even describe, like the cold. Like they left me speechless. Like they're just so bright and so prominent, and they lit up the sky, and they would dance. Like you could actually see them dancing in the sky. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
That'd be awesome. So they probably illuminated quite well. It was like having a rainbow up there, huh? Yeah,
there's like the northern lights, and then they had like sun dogs. They looked like rainbows too, but they called them sun dogs. They were there too, but yeah, no, they lit up the sky almost like a full moon. It was like I said, it's something that you have to see. It was just unreal.
So did you prefer driving during the day or at night? You didn't have a preference?
My very first run, they wanted me to go out at 10 o'clock at night, and I told them I wasn't going out at 10 o'clock at night because I wanted to see what I was dealing with. I mean, first time going on ice and that, I want to make sure that I'm not going to go through. If I'm going to go through. No. I like the daytime. I never was a nighttime driver. I've always been a daytime driver. And 16 hours to get up there one way is a long time. I did do one run at night. We left at 8 o'clock. I ended up meeting another guy from the East Coast, and we met at left at 8 o'clock at night, and we traveled up. It's one of the camps. It's kind of halfway point. It's called Lockhart Camp, and we got there, and I ended up crashing there. I couldn't keep going. I didn't have the steam in me because I didn't sleep real good during the day in order to be rested up. But I tried the night thing, and it just wasn't for me.
Well, I would imagine, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine driving as many hours as you did. Those are long days. Yeah,
it's definitely longer. Longer than what normal truck driving is. You get up anything north of the 60 parallel. They have their whole own rule book, log book, set of rules and everything. You cannot compare it to anywhere else in Canada or anywhere down in the States. They pretty well have their own thing going up there.
Well, they have such a short season, they probably have to have a longer shift to get things accomplished.
Yeah, that's right. It is a pretty short season. They're getting ready to wrap up here probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's usually about a 2 to 3 month season. And they got to get a lot of fuel. I'll give you an example. There was, I believe, about 75 million liters of fuel. That's 75 million liters of fuel going into one of the diamond mines, and that's just one of 3. So that's a lot of fuel. There was a lot of trucks that were hauling it, but that's a lot of fuel for a short period of time. It's and that's just fuel. Like there was equipment, there was pipe, there was, you name it, whatever they needed at a mine, it was going up the road. Like I have pictures of the great big huge haul trucks that you see in like the quarries and that, or the big mining trucks. Yeah. I have pictures of them going up the road, and like it was, you name it, it was going up the road. There was even grocery trucks going up the road, and I joked every now and then I'd go on the radio and I'd say, "So what do we got today there, grocery truck? Anything worth hijacking? Anything good to eat?" And we'd joke back and forth. But no, it was good. It was interesting to see how it was like an army trying to get all of its ants up to the colony. Like it was unreal.
Well, this is the only time they get supplies, isn't it?
That's right, unless they fly them in, and then it's a huge, huge, huge cost for them to fly stuff in, like fuel and all the other stuff. So, yeah, no, this is definitely the only time. So I couldn't even imagine the logistics and the thinking and the putting together part it would take in order to be able to order enough stuff a year in advance to make sure that it got up the road and ready for the following year. Like, there was bags and bags of flat decks of powdered cement that went up the road in order to, I don't know what they use it for. I guess I don't know if they parched the edges of the mine or what, but it was just, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of tons of cement that would have went up the road that I've seen. It was just, it's so hard to imagine it. Like a person almost has to see it for themselves.
Sure. Quite an army of, quite a convoy, if you will. And
yes,
I think you could safely say you actually have gone where Amazon Prime can't deliver.
Yes, I can. I can safely say that I've went to a lot of places that a lot of the trucking companies can't go or have not sent their trucks.
Which is an experience by itself.
Yes. Yeah. No, I sorry, I'm a little slow there. Hey, actually, I just got what you said about Amazon Prime. They advertise they can send it anywhere. Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yeah, they
Amazon
do.
Prime. Yeah.
So it's really false advertising if they say, we'll send it anywhere. There's certain areas of the world they can't.
Well, I guess they could probably mail it via Canada Post or U.S. Mail to Canada Post and up, I guess. Maybe.
Actually, Shelley, they would probably just work with Jason's company and say, we'll give you X number of dollars to get this thing delivered up to the
there you go.
to the top.
But I'm not sure.
I guess if you could put it into a tanker, I guess they could probably put it in the tanker. I mean, the company that I was working for only hauls tankers, so.
Okay. Well, somebody up there will, money talks. Somebody.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we're talking with Ice Road Trucker Jason Briscoe, who just got back from the Northwest Territory. I definitely want to cover more of your adventures, and there's some other things I wanted to discuss that everybody needs to know about. There's a fundraiser for your family. I definitely want everyone to know. You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. Please stay tuned. Finding a safe place to park your rig at night can be a challenge on the road. The Truckers Network, a membership resource site for trucking companies, company drivers, and owner-operators, proudly partners with Truck Park to offer safe and secure overnight truck parking to all Truckers Network members. Truck Park is the digital truck parking leader and America's fastest-growing truck parking service. The Truckers Network exists to link truck drivers with the best quality trucking products and services the industry has to offer. Finding safe overnight parking is crucial for truck drivers, and many drivers struggle with finding available parking spots. The limited parking availability causes drivers to lose sleep, which poses a safety risk to others on the road. Safe parking is valuable for drivers and the cargo they're transporting. With this partnership, Truckers Network members will have access to a discount code and be able to reserve parking spots in real time along their truck route at a reduced price. Truck Park gives drivers access to parking locations across most of the United States. Simply enter the city and state to view available parking spaces nearest a pickup or delivery point, then pay to reserve. Parking rates vary at each location, with some rates as low as $10. Truck Park is a values-based company that empowers truck drivers while providing a safe and unmatched experience. The company offers a quick way to find and reserve parking spots throughout the U.S. Truck drivers have access to Truck Park's free mobile app to easily begin reserving parking spots based on their truck route. About the Truckers Network. The Truckers Network exists to link truckers and trucking businesses throughout the United States. The company's mission is to make the life of a truck driver easier by connecting drivers to the highest quality trucking products and services to keep their trucks on the road.
Hey, what's up? This is Logan Mize, and you are listening to TNCRadio.LIVE.
You're listening to the Evening Surge on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Ice Road Trucker Jason Briscoe, who just got back from the Northwest Territory. Quite an exhilarating experience. I understand, Jason, you actually had to cut your ice road trip short because of a medical emergency with your 4-month-old son. He suffers from a life-threatening medical condition. If you wanted to talk a bit about that, because I know that there's been a fundraiser set up for you and your family by the Trucker Safety Relief Fund.
I did have to cut it a little bit short. I've been home now for 2 weeks here now. My son was diagnosed. It's a medical condition. It's not life-threatening. It is still pretty serious, but it's not life-threatening. And I can't think of the name of it. It's a mile long.
Craniosynthosis or something like that. It's quite a word, yeah.
There you go, folks. Yeah. So basically the way it is when a baby is born, they've got soft spots, and those soft spots are not supposed to develop or harden until they're 24 months at least minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, my son's soft spots have hardened, which does not allow the skull to develop when he grows, so it doesn't open, it doesn't grow bigger and make room for the brain for when the brain grows.
Mm-hmm.
So they did say that it could squash or could cram the brain and could cause other issues and stuff as he gets older than that.
Right.
So what my wife had him down at the IWK about 3 weeks to a month ago. And they are going to have to perform surgery, and they are going to have to reconstruct his skull,
Wow.
which is pretty substantial. And they figure within the next month or two that they're going to do it. That was then, so it's even shorter then. And I'm going to end up taking off. I'm going to need to take some time off work and stuff and away from the road and stuff because of this crazy world that we live in as far as the coronavirus and that. And they won't allow me in the hospitals if I'm outside the province or country. So I'm going to end up needing to find something a little bit local and to help out the family. And I'm a member of an amazing group. I've met some amazing family, brothers and sisters, and that group is the Trucker Safety Group on Facebook. And
Yes.
if you guys can look that up and coming at us, it's a great people that run it, Angela and Larry, and they've actually come forward in order to start this fundraiser. It wasn't, and a couple of our moderators, it wasn't something that I was expecting or asking for, but they thought it would be good because they are good people and they have great hearts, and they thought it would be something good in order to help us out.
Yes.
The last I seen, I think there's around $1,300 that's been raised so far, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it's just, like I said, it was unexpected circumstances that I had to come home early. It was unexpected for the money to be raised for my family. And like I said, words can't say enough how much my family and I are appreciative of what Angela and Frankie and Larry and all the other ones have done, and the hard work that they've put out on the Truckers Relief Fund page and the actual Trucker Safety page on Facebook. So if you guys can take a few minutes and sometime that you're sitting and bored and want to look up that page, it's called the Trucker Safety page, and we try to broadcast weather and accidents and different safety things and all different things with trucking. We're out there to help. I'm actually a moderator on the page myself, and try to help out the truckers, try to stick together. It actually started back when the riots and that were real bad down in the States. So
it's a great resource, no doubt. And from what I understand, and I know we've been putting this out on social media for you too, your fundraising page is on Trucker Safety Relief Fund. That's a separate page from Trucker Safety Info. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yep. And I believe you guys are going to advertise it on your page. So you have the direct link there, but yes, it is a separate page from the Trucker Safety page. Yes.
It's so wonderful that you can get that help. This is a very scary time. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Your little one's so little, and you just don't want anything happening to them, and oh my goodness, having to have surgery at that age, any age at all.
Yeah, no, he's my baby boy. I mean, I've got a little girl, and he's my baby boy. My girl is going to be 3 here in August, and he's only just turned 5 months. So, yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking when you never want to see a child sick or hurt or injured, especially when it's your own. It's even that much harder.
I understand you had to quarantine for a couple weeks, so you couldn't even see your son right away.
Yeah, I was what I call house arrest. I was a good boy. I wasn't in trouble with the law. I just couldn't see my family, couldn't go out and do anything. It's just the regulations with the coronavirus that my province has got that just isolate, make sure you don't spread or anything. I mean, which wasn't an issue. It was hard to do. I mean, I was only 2 hours away from my wife and my kids. And I mean, it was kind of hard too because I had 5 tests whenever I was up there. So I knew I didn't have the COVID. I mean, there was a chance that I could pick it up in an airport or an airplane, but I kept my distance and masked and everything like that too. So it was definitely difficult.
So, Jason, I wanted to let you know that actually I've had 2 nephews who went through exactly this. They were brothers and had the surgery and everything, and now they are grown up and married, and life is fine. Just a testimony that, this thing, it's serious. Anytime somebody's messing with your head and skull and all that kind of stuff, that's serious, but they came through it like troopers, and I'm sure your son will too.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's kind of a relief, Tom, there to hear that. And, I mean, we're kind of up in ours. We don't know what to expect or what exactly will happen. So that's great to hear that your nephews did all right with that.
When is your son's first surgery? He's going to have several surgeries. Am I correct? Or
it's going to be one surgery for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure if he's going to have multiple surgeries.
Okay.
It is definitely going to be one surgery. We have not got the surgery date yet. They told us between 6 and 9 months is the prime time to do the surgery. They got to do it in a certain stage of life, and they said that usually it's between newborn and 3 months, and then 6 to 9 months, I guess, in between the growth spurts kind of deal.
Okay.
So they did tell us between 6 and 9 months that he would have it. He will be 6 months in we're in March, so April 9th he'll be 6 months. So it could be really any time that we get a surgery date between now and the next couple of months.
Sure. So now you're playing the waiting game, which can be very stressful. And I think it's wonderful that this fund's been set up for you and that people are reaching out to help you because, gosh, I mean, this is, you've got to kind of stop what you're doing. And then this takes the stress off because obviously his medical condition, that's got to be your major focus.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a lot of stress on the shoulders, especially when you got to, I have a good company and good job and stuff, runs down all over across North America. And when you're told that you can't go too far because of it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the coronavirus. I mean, right. It's this darn coronavirus that's causing a lot of headaches and issues for people, but when you're told you can't go too far because of that, you got to isolate, you got to do this, you got to do that, and it just makes it hard. So I spent all week because I had nothing really else to do. I spent all week applying to a few local jobs and trying to find something a little bit local. But as we all know, that sometimes local doesn't pay as great as what it does on the highway, and so you're trying to juggle. Well, what do you do? Like that's the hard thing.
Well, I think it's wonderful that Trucker Safety Relief Fund, this was set up for you.
Yes, no, it's like I said, it's when I found out that they were doing it, Angela had personally messaged me, and it was touching. I was speechless. Like I didn't know what to do or what to say. And when she said, "No, we want to help you," it was a relief. Relief to know that somebody was out there in order to help, or people were out there to help. And it unexpectedly. Like, I'd already was already starting to try to figure out what I needed to do as far as financial and stuff, because I knew that the wife, she'd probably have to be staying home until things were done, because she's in the medical profession herself. She works for a doctor and stuff. So it was to try to figure out what we're going to do, basically down to one income, right?
Yeah. And that's a challenge that you don't need to be dealing with right now. Trucker Safety Info Group is a wonderful group, a great resource, and I recommend that drivers definitely check that out. And I think it's wonderful what they're doing for you with the Trucker Safety Relief Fund.
Yes.
This will take some of the stress off you, because that's the last thing you need to worry about is bills.
Yes, no, that's right. And they seem to, I don't know, the Postal Service seems to be able to figure out how to always deliver them. They just can't, hide them somewhere. They just seem to always find your mailbox and add up. So.
Well, definitely anyone who wants to donate to the Jason Briscoe's family during this time of need, check out the Trucker Safety Relief Fund on Facebook. There's a donation page there. You can see his story. Definitely, it's a great cause, and I'm so happy that you have been able to chat with us, Jason. Did you want to stay for a few more minutes before we go to break, or?
Yeah, whatever. I just want to say a shout out to a couple of buddies of mine that I actually met up on the ice roads.
Okay.
A Newfoundlander there, Charles, and another good guy that I met from the West Coast, from BC, Brian. I just want to say hello to you guys, and hopefully you guys are doing good up there, and you aren't too bored waiting out these storms, and hopefully things fare out the best for you guys, and you guys be safe up there and get that fuel up to them diamond mines.
There you go. Well, we're going to be going to break, and we'll have Jason Briscoe back with us after we come back from break. You're listening to TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. This is the Evening Surge. Please stay tuned. You're listening to the Evening Surge on TNCRadio.LIVE. I'm Shelley Johnson here with Tom Kelly. We're talking with Ice Road trucker Jason Briscoe, who's been sharing with us his experiences on the ice road, as well as some of the challenges he's experiencing right now with his family and the wonderful charity, the fundraiser that Trucker Safety Relief Fund has put together for him. Jason, I had a question, and it just popped into my head because I have a weird way of thinking. Did you see Bigfoot while you were up there? Sasquatch, whatever.
That's right.
I didn't.
No?
The only Bigfoot that I probably would have saw was the big footprints of the caribou. And I can't even say I saw the big foot from the buffalo, because I didn't see the buffalo. But no, I didn't see no Armageddon or Armadillo or Sasquatch or any of that. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the big reward, there's a big reward there if you can bring him in alive.
In Oklahoma, there's a huge reward.
Yeah, what was it?
Is there, yeah?
A couple of $1 million or something? Yeah.
Damn, maybe I should go back. Maybe I should go back up there and try to find him.
And bring him to Oklahoma. Yeah, there's $1 million reward if you can capture Sasquatch alive.
That's right.
In Oklahoma. Yeah. So they have polar bears where you were, don't they?
I was still a little bit too far south. Okay. They are a bit further up north, from what I understand. They have not mammoths. They have I forget the name of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, the big hairy thing.
Yeah. They have them there, but I didn't see any of them.
Well, I think it's awesome that you have been able to share some of your experiences. Would you do the ice road again?
I would. That depends if my wife would let me do it again. We did find it. We were apart for 2 months. That's the longest we've ever been apart. It was Not gonna lie, it was hard being away from the kids that long. It was hard being away from her for that long.
Sure.
I mean, it wouldn't be so bad, I guess, if a person didn't have to self-isolate or anything and be away from them. That was hard knowing, like I said, that you're that close. But I wouldn't do it anytime soon, but I probably would do it again, yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight.
Hey, not a problem. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I could tell the...
TNCRadio.LIVE, your commercial driver navigation station.
Hi, this is Tom Kelly, managing partner of Briscoe, LLC, doing business as TNCRadio.LIVE. The website TNCRadio.LIVE and any content or podcast related to the website are copyrights of Briscoe, LLC, copyright 2021. All rights reserved. Any redistribution or reproduction of all or any part of the contents in any form is prohibited other than the following. We welcome you to download and play the publicly available podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge TNCRadio.LIVE as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. And while we endeavor to keep the information up to date and correct, we make no representations or warranties of any kind expressed or implied about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website, the podcast, or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained on the website or podcast for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. For additional information, including details regarding monetization of this podcast, send email to podcasts@tncradio.live.